One of the most useful forms of hydrocarbons is natural gas, which is mostly methane with some ethane, propane and butane. Because they combust quite easily, they're useful as a fuel as they release a decent amount of energy. Check it. But it's properties like these that lead to potential hazards. But common sense also helps. Small organic compounds and their weak dispersion forces mean they have super low boiling points. Many of them are volatile, so easily become a gas at room temperature. All are invisible, but luckily they stink, so they can be detected by its pungent odor. Most are flammable in the gaseous form because of their low flash point. Organic substances with a flash point below 23 degrees Celsius is said to be highly flammable, so compounds like these, storage needs to be considered. On a side note, most are highly reactive, so that's not good. So how do these things get into you? Due to their volatile nature, breathing them in is one of the most common ways. Once in your lungs, it dissolves and travels to various organs until you get a nice buildup of the chemical over time. A less common way is through skin contact. They can dissolve into your skin, reach your bloodstream, eventually your internal organs. They can also dissolve the protective layer of fat in the skin, allowing even more damage to occur. That tingling feeling is a bad sign. Unintentional ingestion, not really by swallowing, but being more careless and not washing your hands while you eat a kebab or something. So it's best to minimize exposure to these harmful chemicals. For example, benzene. This causes blood disorders like anemia, immune disorders like not enough white blood cells that are being produced, and birth defects. Because of these things, benzene is no longer being used in products, and alternatives like cyclohexane, which is what we use in the lab, are being used instead. Common sense says just not to touch these things, so PPE and physical separation via container is useful. So let's dispose of these things. Organic waste is usually treated, like we don't just throw it in the bin. But the biggest concern is what can actually go down the sink. Usually, the answer is nothing organic regardless of how dilute it is, as it ends up in our sewage systems and eventually in the waterways. The toxic nature of these compounds are always bad.